Hello again, Struckweb. Today I'm bringing you another build video for Torchlight 3 and this one is the summoner version of yesterday's build. So yesterday I showed you the Wingspan Scattershot 2.0 and today I'm showing you a summoner version of this build, which I've decided to call the Freezing Summoner Sharpshooter plus Cold Heart build. So it's definitely an interesting version, and I think when I max out Ice Shield with the pet, it's pretty fun. When the pet is doing the same times and amount of icicles as I am doing, and we're just stacking and doubling the damage when we stay next to each other. So sometimes it's very fun, especially if you get a lot of summons. There can be a lot of little trickles of damage every now and then, and when you're using Scattershot and when you're using an army of summons like this one, you can do some serious proccing, some serious freezing, and since you have 100% critical chance against frozen enemies from Snowstorm, and Snowstorm right now doesn't seem to do damage, but when it comes to the critting, I've not been noticing much frozen enemies that are not getting critted lately, so I think it might have been some desyncs or whatever could have been causing it. Some other people are saying it's working for them, so let's assume that the critting, the always critting frozen enemies while Snowstorm is active is working. It still needs to get its damage fixed, and then the build would get kind of a slight buff. More info in the skill segment, which is coming next, and after the skill segment there would be a gear segment and then some more gameplay. So let's start with the skills first. The skill points allocation for this summoner version of the build is kind of simple. I've tried to not make it that different from the other setup, but of course you would have, and you would be able to see on your screen, some alternative versions of spending the last few skill points. And keep in mind, it has been confirmed that we're getting 10 more skill points, so I will also mention where we can spend those extra skill points when they get added. I'll also rework my old builds, screenshots of how to spend the skill points to match the 10 extra skill points increase when this increase has been added, and keep the old and the new ones. So for now let's move on to precision. I decided to remove points from targeted strikes, but with the additional points added you wouldn't need to. I removed 7 points here. So I removed 7 points so I can put them into Goblin Legion. And I also got another 1 point in Goblin Legion, which most likely might have come from what did it come? Sacrifice to Goose? No, oh, actually removed my helmet. I removed my +1 to Snowstorm helmet and put this hat, which allowed me to kind of use hat, gloves and boots. I would have preferred to be using the shoulders, but at least now I'm using skittering one, so that's not so bad. And I'm swatting the chest, and I'm using the ice defense chest. So I've got two precision skills, and I've got two musketeer skills. Adventurer skills, I mean. And yeah, we've got some nice stuff here. We've got 4 points into WoW Shasta. I think it's a must-have for any build. 50% increased damage to taunted enemies. Sacrifice to Goose, I also love it on almost every type of build. 25 goes to 30% damage vulnerability with the tier 1 bonus. Goblin Legion is maxed out for the Brute and for that extra damage. Ghost Visage is 1 point, but it's still tier 1. Here we're getting max level Ice Shield for us and the pet to spawn icicles. I think I really like this. When I'm right next to the pet we are melting stuff. Then Snowstorm, it's here for you critically hit frozen enemies while Snowstorm is active, and to give us and our pets that damage buff and the chance to freeze. And of course, the pets freezing enemies means us critically hitting them if they get hit by our big AoE Scattershot. Then Cold Front here, with the extra points I would put 5 more points into Cold Front, so we can freeze all enemies for 3 seconds, 3 seconds on activation. This is what I would do with the extra 5 points, and probably with the extra 5 points I would consider putting points either in relic skills or relic recharge rate, something like that. Alternatively, the ammo recharge rate and more targeted strikes. We'll see. I mean, even reload charge is not a bad thing to do if you want to be spamming more scatter shots. But if you're using the wingspan, you're not gonna spam it, because at best, if you get this cooldown reduction here, which probably is a good thing to get when you have the wingspan. If you do get that reduction and the wingspan makes the cooldown to 2, with that reduction it will be 1.8, which is still not that bad. I mean, you're still saving a little bit of cooldown, but yeah, it's not gonna be that much with that 10%. But it's nice to have it when using the wingspan rifle that doubles your cooldown and damage of Scattershot. So I think a 1 point breaking point and frost skin for me was just an experiment. You might want to remove those points, spend them elsewhere. It's entirely up to you for those points there. You might as well just get them into Cold Front, knocking back enemies, or just put them wherever else you think you might need those points. Okay, I think that's pretty much it regarding those skill points. Let's go into the legendarium. Ideally, I would be wearing, as I said, the helmet, but a helmet with +1 to a skill that I'm wearing to get that 1 skill point. With the extra 10 points, maybe this won't be needed. So just wear a good helmet with Evasion. I guess that's the Musketeer Cavalier or Bok Chance. I really love Evasion Bok Chance for this build. So as long as you have the precision skills from the hat and 2 more pieces to get the bonus, maybe those 2 pieces if you want boots with percent damage. But yeah, more about that in the gear segment. And as long as you have the rope here, you can get Rifle of Leadership and you can get Bone Razor and you can wear Bone Blocker and still get the empowered effect, which is amazing, getting all those summons. So the goblins will give you extra 4 summons, extra 3 ghostly summoners, ghostly gunners, and the Bone Razor would give you the 3 skeleton warriors, which combines with the other 3 skeleton knights and makes you get the extra 4 skeleton archers, so 10 skeletons. And for the goblins you get 3 plus 1 plus another, 3 plus another 2. I think something like that. I might have said it wrong, how many exactly. Oh yeah, it's 2 goblins plus another 3 instead of 3 plus another 2. But yeah, it's 5 plus 1 plus 3 for the goblins. And Shasta, and that's like 20 summons. 20 summons without using the golem, without using Greasy's Fate. But yeah, I think I gave you a lot of ideas of how to spend the points. And here, instead of Bone Razor, if you're using a two-handed weapon, instead of going for the Bone Razor, Bone Blocker, if you want to focus a little bit more on your damage, you can try and maybe get things like the chronometer, or maybe where did it go? Maybe you can get the two-tone pool if you want to use a precision version, or Shasta's Promise, but you definitely want the wingspan. You want the wingspan, and ideally you would have to replace either the Bone Razor or the rifle. And whether you want the ghostly gunners or the skeletons, I would say replace the Bone Razor if you want to replace one of those 3. or whatever here is important. If there's an important thing here, yeah. If you don't have the rope and you don't have any pieces and you're just wearing hat, rope and let's say gauntlets, that works fine for you as well. You've got room, but you're losing some potential ice damage over there, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums up the skills and legendarium and everything. So let's go to the pets. To the pet skills, Deadlier Strikes is now not as good as before, but at the same time better than before. Because 40% is the cap on crit chance and 15% is a huge amount of that cap limit. So yeah, it's useful if you don't want to use it, if you've already gotten a lot of crit chance and you're capping at 40, then get or a defender or running partner or the bog chance, whatever you're stacking. Bog chance works well with this build if you don't have enough. If you're stacking evasion and bog chance, it's just a lot of survivability. Always use healing friendship. I really love this. It's extra healing from the pet. Screeching Stun and Immobilizing Strike are two skills I really love. I would have suggested Necro Pupper, but I don't have it and I don't know if it's fixed and it works now. Hopefully it does, because it would be fun on summoner builds. But yeah, let's talk about the gear next. Enough about the skills. For the gear, I've tested actually three things. The first thing I tested was this old sword of mine. Which one was it? It was this one. Then I tested this one. In some maps I forgot and accidentally equipped the other one, and my damage was suffering. But look at the damage difference. That's like 1000 over here. And yeah, on other maps I used the rifle, which was giving me damage versus Vultura, but I never could get a Vultura on a map. I only got one elite Vultura in one automaton based map and that was it. But yeah, you could be using such as this rifle, some weapon. It doesn't have to be rifle, it could be great sword, it could be bow. As long as it's two-handed and it has ice at the top, ice at the bottom, maybe a little bit of extra ice and maybe extra damage to specific type, or extra damage with Scattershot, or extra damage with precision skills, or extra damage with anything else that you use, or cooldown for goblins, or in this case it was faster cooldown for Ice Shield, which was pretty nice, but only 6.4%, so the difference is, let's see, from 20 seconds it goes down to 18.7, so it's not bad. 1.3 second cooldown reduction on the skill. Again, I couldn't unfortunately test it on a Vultura map. I did like 10 maps plus and I couldn't, and in the end I just gave up trying to get Vultura maps. But yeah, I'm wearing the Cavalier hat and I'm swatting in the legendarium the chest, so I can get the 2 extra skill points to adventure skills from the chest from the legendarium. But wearing the hat, you can try wearing a hat that's Cavalier hat and gives you +1 skill level to a skill that you've got more than 1 skill point invested into. For the legs I would strongly suggest blue as well as the chest with ice damage flat. For the boots I would suggest Musketeer boots, or if you can get shoulder, Cavalier hat and gloves of the Musketeer, then get boots with bonus ice damage like those here. It's not much, it's like 500 extra DPS, but it is nice. Look at the damage at the bottom. From 9.2 thousand ice damage it goes to 10,087. So that's like 800 ice damage you're getting as flat. Yeah, I'm losing some crit damage because my other boots give me and these ones don't, but you can try and get ice damage with crit or ice damage with some more evasion or more block chance. In any case, if you get ice damage and crit, it's gonna be the best. That's why my DPS is not going this much up, because I'm losing the crit while gaining the ice, and it still goes up with losing the crit. So imagine how convenient and how good that would be if I could get the shoulder there. And I do have it. I do have a shoulder. I will probably try it eventually. I've got one here, which I can use. It's not bad. It would fit well, but I'm losing 14 bok chance right now, which is the main reason why I don't want to lose my current shoulder. Even with the shield, if I lose that 14 bok chance, I'm at 29. And yeah, I'm gonna try and find a shoulder, a musketeer shoulder with bok chance, maybe some crit damage, and then I wouldn't mind getting it. Like this one, for example. This one works nicely. This one works nicely, and that could be the reworked version of this setup. See, it gave me crit damage and it gave me bok chance, so I'm at 35. I'm not maxing it out, but I can now change the boots and get... well, I'm gonna lose some evasion, but I'm getting stuff. So we're going to 15,000. 15,009, and before it was at 14,581. But yeah, the ice damage is nice, the crit damage is nice. We could get more crit damage, of course, but this one seems like a good choice. We're just losing this bonus, the 100% chance to get an additional charge, which is fine, I guess. So this is something close to my ideal setup. Something close. Not there yet, but pretty close. And if you wanna use the two-handed, the difference is even bigger when you have the boots and when you don't. Look at the damage here. That's a 1k. And like that is... Like that it's also 800 difference, and like this it's... It's like 900 ice damage difference. But yeah, definitely you can see the differences why I'm suggesting few certain things in certain cases. Of course you wanna get crit chance maxed out, crit damage, so crit chance now caps at 40, but certain skills allow it to push further. You wanna get bok chance and evasion stacked as much as you can. For ice shield stacking, you wanna get certain things to certain skills. Flat defense is pretty nice, elemental defense is not bad. I mean, I like gearwork as well, but keep that in mind that getting gearwork means you're sacrificing some other things. See, there's things like relic energy cost, relic recharge rate, HP. For the pet, I would suggest if you want the ice shield stacking, get the Drat neckband, try to get a lot of pet attack speed, and try to get the pet resurrecting maybe, and the bartering, so the pet returns quickly. So the bartering, the token of rapid bartering is this one, token of rapid bartering, and invigoration is not bad, but the Phoenix one, I would suggest wear a Phoenix and rapid bartering and a Dryad neckband, and then you're gonna be all set. I think that would be pretty nice. Invigoration is alternative choice if you don't have one of the others. It's gonna work. Make sure you're wearing ice damage so that your pet gets that extra 25% from the passive as well. And yeah, I think bok chance for the pet would really help, evasion would help, and so would attack speed greatly help. And that's pretty much it, I guess, for the gear. Now you can see I'm at 35 bok chance, 23 evasion right now. Ideally you're gonna be 40-40 or as close as you can to 40 in each of those, and stack it with the damage prevented from my shield. So enough of the gear, let's show you some more gameplay. And here we are at the gameplay segment, showing you me playing the build, a little bit more footage of, for example, how I'm using different weapons. Like now I just switched to that rifle I've got with extra damage to Vultura, but I'm not fighting Vultura, so I'm not getting this bonus damage, but it's still strong DPS regardless, because it's two-handed and it's got the right swots. And here it is, for example, me and my pet at the same time spewing those icicles. Here it is me switching to the Bone Razor Bone Blocker, but I think I might have used the wrong one-handed weapon, the weaker one out of the two. And since they were with the same base, I guess it's okay to sometimes mistake them. I just need to remove the old one from the inventory. But yeah, I have a much stronger, well, not much stronger, but pretty strong compared to that one sword, which I could have equipped. But yeah, you can see how fun it is sometimes when you can group up those enemies and just have some fun with the pet's icicles and your icicles. And I decided to just wait, kill those enemies, and then focus the boss after that. Just to try and have some fun with Scattershot. And yeah, now I guess it's time for the boss. But yeah, there's definitely some fun that you can have on specific maps. This footage that you're seeing of this specific boss fight, I've just put a little bit of a filter for just to see how it might look to highlight that boss fight, so it can stand out and people could probably remember it to see what happened in the beginning, how many enemies there were, and how we crowd controlled them. Pretty fun though. Yeah, let's move on to clean footage now. No filters and UTs. But yeah, this pretty much is it. You can see how much damage we can do when the right things stack together. Regardless whether you decide to go without the summons or whether you go with the summons, if you have the pet with you, and if you use Ice Shield, and if you use Cold Front to get those whitenings, not whitenings, those icicles, the blizzards falling. And if you have Shasta to taunt enemies to keep them together, and if you take the melee enemies into the ranged enemies, bring melee enemies towards where the ranged enemies are. This one would really help you clear quickly with a build like this, because you want to group them up for AoE and you want to use as many enemies together as you can before you start using your skills. I think that's pretty good way to try and play a build like this. I mean, everyone has their own preference how to play it. It's just how I like to play it. So if anyone was wondering, this is my preferred style of using such a build. But yeah, I'm including a lot more gameplay this time than usual, because some people were saying they want more gameplay, and this time you can see the build from yesterday and from today. It's on ridiculous, just so you can see how an undergeared, not perfectly min-maxed version of this build can be, excluding the extra 10 skill points we would be getting. So imagine this with extra 10 skill points and with properly min-maxed items, and with the Wingspan, which would double the damage of the Scattershot skill, things like that, and you would probably get an idea how much stronger the build can be. I would stay away from calling this build meta, but I would say that it's a fun build and it's a viable fun build. It's pretty good, as long as you know how to play it and how to stack certain stats, you can kill certain enemies reasonably quickly. You're still squishy and sometimes you would die if you don't pay attention, especially if you're not using the shield, if you're not stacking enough block chance and evasion. Dying from fires and poisons and things like that could still happen often, so you gotta be careful. In regards to how to rotate things, I would say maybe start with Goose and Shasta, get the Goblin, cast 3 quick scatter shots, then I would say revolt, get another Goose, another Shasta, and if you've got around 30-40 energy or 50 even, use Snowstorm and use the icicles either at the start or right before using Snowstorm, or right after using Snowstorm, the Ice Shield icicles, because you want to make sure that there's enemies. If there is just 2-3 enemies, maybe using the ice shield may not be as good. And I do hope that there was sufficient amount of gameplay this time to show you folks. So this pretty much sums up the build. If you'd like to get notified when I upload more content, you can subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to not miss the content update notifications. The content you would expect to see on my channel is builds and guides and info news videos, as well as other type of content for wooters of all sorts, RPGs, ARPGs, tactical RPGs, shooter wooters, and other things in between. Thanks for watching, keep it cool, struck up, and until next time.